At 34 years old, Curtis Warren owned casinos in Spain, discotheques in Turkey, a vineyard in Bulgaria, land in Gambia, a private yacht, a 16-room mansion in the Netherlands, and more than 200 rental properties scattered across Liverpool. His fortune was so large that he became the first drug dealer in British history to appear on the Sunday Times Rich List. He had a photographic memory, never wrote anything down. Every phone number, every Swiss bank account, every contact across 3 continents was stored inside his head, and his head alone. The Colombian cartels gave him unlimited credit because they knew he would never leave a paper trail. And then it all collapsed. Not because of some elaborate police sting or international task force, but because a group of Jersey officers decided to break the law themselves by planting a bug inside a car traveling through France. Without permission, without warrants, without caring about the European Convention on Human Rights. This is the story of Curtis Warren, the man they called Britain's Pablo Escobar, and how one bugged car brought down a criminal empire worth £300 million. You are watching British Gangland, where we tell the stories of the underworld that shaped modern Britain. Curtis Warren was born on the 31st of May, 1963, in Toxteth, Liverpool. His father, Curtis Aloysius Warren, was a seaman with the Norwegian Merchant Navy who had been born in South America. His mother, Antonia Chantre, was the daughter of a shipyard boiler attendant. Warren grew up with his older brother Ramon and sister Maria on the streets of Granby, an area that would see some of the worst rioting in British history just 18 years later. By the age of 12, Warren had been stopped by police for stealing cars. By 15, he was doing time in juvenile detention for burglary. And by 18, he had earned himself a borstal sentence for assaulting police officers during the 1981 Toxteth riots. That same year, Liverpool was burning. Unemployment had devastated the city. Racial tensions had reached breaking point. And in the middle of all that chaos, a young Curtis Warren was learning lessons that no school could teach. In 1983, Warren was jailed for 5 years after holding up a security van driver outside a post office and making off with £8,000 in used notes. He was 20 years old, and his real criminal education was just about to begin. Because while Warren sat in his cell, crime in Liverpool was changing completely. Bank robberies were becoming too risky. Drug trafficking was becoming too profitable. By the time Warren walked free, the streets he had grown up on had transformed into one of the most lucrative heroin markets in Britain. Warren got himself a job working the doors at Liverpool nightclubs. Now, that might sound like legitimate work, but in reality, it was anything but. Bouncers controlled who came in and out of venues. They controlled which dealers could operate, and they could befriend anyone they wanted. Warren used that position to learn the drug trade from the inside, connecting with suppliers, understanding distribution, and building relationships that would later span continents. One of those relationships was with Mike Ahern, who would later become famous as a gladiator on the television series. But another relationship would prove far more important. Warren connected with Brian Charrington, a KR dealer from Middlesbrough, who happened to have connections to something much bigger than Liverpool nightclubs. In September 1991, Warren and Charrington sailed to France on Charrington's personal yacht. They then traveled to Venezuela using British passports. And it was there, in South America, that they met directly with representatives of the Cali cartel. Now, understand what this meant. British criminals had been buying cocaine for years, but they had always gone through middlemen. Warren cut them out entirely. He went straight to the source. He looked the Colombians in the eye and negotiated a deal that would change everything. Cocaine would be hidden inside lead ingots, sealed in steel boxes, and shipped directly to Britain. The first shipment came through without a hitch. Police estimated that Warren made £87 million from that single delivery. £87 million. And the authorities could not touch him. In 1992, customs officers seized a second shipment of 1,000 kilograms of cocaine. Warren was arrested. He was put on trial at Newcastle Crown Court in January 1993. And then the prosecution collapsed entirely. Warren reportedly stormed back into the courtroom after the case fell apart and told the customs agents, "I am off to spend my £87 million from the first shipment, and you cannot touch me." By 1995, Warren had become too hot in Liverpool. A violent gang war had erupted across the city following the murder of boxer David Ungi. Shootings were happening weekly. Merseyside police had started patrolling the streets with Heckler and Koch semi-automatic weapons. Warren decided it was time to leave. He relocated to a villa in Sassenheim, just an hour from Amsterdam. And from there, he built something that had never been seen before in British criminal history. His empire included cocaine from Colombia, heroin from Turkey and Iran, cannabis from Morocco. He distributed through networks stretching from Liverpool to Brazil, Moscow to Australia. Dutch financial investigators estimated that Warren was making £12 million in drug profits every 3 months. He was laundering up to £15 million per week through Swiss bank accounts, Turkish property, and Bulgarian vineyards. And the key to all of it was his photographic memory. Warren never called his contacts by their real names. He used code words for everything. When police tapped his phones, they heard him using a twisted form of Liverpool backslang, inserting extra syllables into words to confuse anyone listening. Cocaine, which street dealers called white, became wabbit in Warren's conversations. Every bank account number, every phone number, every contact across his entire network was stored inside his head. Never written, never documented, never traceable. The Colombian cartels trusted him completely. They gave him unlimited credit because they knew that Curtis Warren would never leave evidence behind. On the 24th of October, 1996, Dutch police finally made their move. Brigade Speciale Beveiligingsopdrachten raided Warren's villa in the Netherlands, along with several other properties he owned. What they found inside was staggering. 400 kilograms of cocaine, 1,500 kilograms of cannabis resin, 60 kilograms of heroin, 50 kilograms of ecstasy, 3 guns and ammunition, hand grenades, crates containing 960 CS gas canisters, and hundreds of thousands in cash, both Dutch guilders and American dollars. The total haul was estimated at £125 million. Warren was arrested and sentenced to 12 years in the maximum security Nieuw Vossenveld prison in Vught. But here is where the story takes another turn. Inside that Dutch prison, Warren got into a fight in the yard with a Turkish inmate named Cemal Guklu, who was serving 20 years for murder. Guklu approached Warren, yelled abuse at him, and tried to throw a punch. Warren responded by killing him with his bare hands. He was convicted of manslaughter and had 4 years added to his sentence. Warren was eventually released in June 2007. He had served his time. He had refused to pay a single pound to Dutch authorities. And the moment he walked free, British law enforcement was watching his every step. Under Operation Floss, the serious organized crime agency tracked Warren's movements constantly. They knew he would go back to the game. They just needed to catch him doing it. It took exactly 3 weeks. On the 30th of June 2007, SOCA called Jersey police to inform them that Warren had arrived at Manchester Airport and paid cash for a plane ticket. He was observed meeting with known Liverpool associate Taffin Carter in Jersey. The pair drove around the island, visiting various locations. Now, Jersey was interesting for a reason. Drug prices on the island were 3 times higher than in Britain or France. It was a gold mine waiting to be tapped. Jersey police created Operation Koala and began monitoring everything. They bugged phone boxes. They bugged the home of Taffin Carter's girlfriend. And from this surveillance, they discovered that a friend of Warren named John Welsh intended to travel to Amsterdam to meet with a known Warren associate, a Moroccan named Mohamed Liazid. Jersey police wanted to bug Welsh's hire car as it traveled from St. Malo through France, Belgium, and into the Netherlands. They asked permission from French and Belgian authorities. Both countries refused. They said it would be a breach of the European Convention on Human Rights. Jersey police did it anyway. They planted the bug without authorization and recorded every conversation inside that car as it crossed 3 countries. What they captured was enough to bring down Warren's entire operation. They heard him arranging the transport of cannabis. They heard discussions about distribution. They had everything they needed. Warren was arrested in St. Helens in 2007 and charged with conspiracy to smuggle drugs. He pleaded not guilty. His lawyers argued that the evidence was obtained illegally, that Jersey police had broken the law to catch him, that nothing recorded in that car should be admissible. The legal battle lasted 2 years. Judge Sir Richard Tucker described the bugging as reprehensible and unlawful. 3 police officers faced disciplinary proceedings for their involvement. But in the end, the court ruled there was enough evidence from other sources to support the case. On the 7th of October 2009, Curtis Warren was found guilty of conspiracy to smuggle cannabis into Jersey and sentenced to 13 years in prison. Then came the confiscation order. The Royal Court of Jersey issued a demand for £198 million, one of the largest confiscation orders in European history. Warren claimed he was broke. He said the Dutch had already seized everything. He refused to pay a single pound, so they gave him another 10 years. Warren was released from HMP Whitemoor in November 2022, having served 14 years. He immediately became subject to some of the strictest restrictions ever placed on a released convict in Britain. He cannot use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. He cannot hold cryptocurrency. He must give police 24 hours notice before getting into a friend's car. He must give 7 days notice before traveling to Scotland. He is banned from possessing more than £1,000 in cash. Within months, he was arrested again for breaching those conditions. In August 2024, he admitted to multiple violations, including using additional mobile phones, opening bank accounts without telling the National Crime Agency, traveling to Spain without proper notice, and using a bank card under a false name to pay for car insurance. Today, Curtis Warren is 61 years old. He owes £198 million that authorities believe he has hidden in Swiss accounts and Turkish properties. He claims he survives on less than £25 per week. The National Crime Agency watches his every move, waiting for the moment he slips up. The man who once owned casinos and yachts and vineyards. The man who made the Sunday Times rich list. The man who looked Colombian cartel bosses in the eye and negotiated deals worth hundreds of millions. Brought down because a group of Jersey police officers decided the rules did not apply to them. Warren has publicly vowed to expose what he calls corruption within the Jersey police force. He claims they acted illegally and that he was the victim of a system that broke its own laws to catch him. And here is the thing that sits with you long after this story ends. He might actually have a point. The bug was illegal. The courts acknowledged it. The judges called it reprehensible. 3 officers faced disciplinary action. And yet the conviction stood anyway. Whether you think Curtis Warren deserved what he got, or whether you think the system betrayed its own principles to put him away, one thing is absolutely certain. The man who trusted his photographic memory to keep him safe, who never wrote anything down, who built an empire on secrets stored only inside his head, was ultimately undone by words recorded inside a car that should never have been bugged in the first place. That is the story of Curtis Warren, Britain's Pablo Escobar, and the bugged car that cost him everything. If this story sat with you, consider subscribing. We cover the untold stories of British organized crime every week. And if you want to go deeper into the Liverpool underworld, that video is on screen now.